The 123rd edition of America's Game back in Philadelphia, and this game was awesome. Navy going for back-to-back wins. Army going for their third win in their last 4 meetings at Lincoln Financial Field. The under has hit in 16 straight matchups, trending that way early on. The total in this one, 32. First play of the second quarter, Cade Ballard's pass slipped through the hands of Cole Catterbone. Would lead to a 3-and-out. Not much offense for Army. 3-and-outs on each of its first 3 possessions. Mid-second quarter, Army now down 3-0. Tyler's pass just misses the reach of Brahim Murphy. Oh, so close. It would lead to a 4th straight punt for Army. Army in the first half 0 for 5 on pass attempts. Just over 3 minutes left in the first half. Army going for it on 4th and 2. Tyler stuffed. Navy takes over on downs. Army's first 5 drives, 4 punts, a turnover on downs, and just 33 yards of total offense. Black Knights need a spark, and they get it. Riley Reithman gets blocked by Noah Short. Nathaniel Smith recovers, touchdown Army, and the Black Knights up 7-3 at halftime. The first blocked punt return for a touchdown since 2000 in the rivalry. Offense looking to build that lead. Mid-third quarter, Army with a 3rd and 10. Connor Bishop snaps it past Ballard. Both teams trying to pick it up. Markel Johnson recovers it. Loss of 25 yards. Black Knights go from field goal range to punting it away. And the midshipmen take advantage. First play of the ensuing Navy drive. Anton Hall Jr. takes the handoff, and he is gone. 77 yards. Navy up 10-7, the longest run by Navy in series history. Army in need of a response. What a run by Anton Hall Jr. Just over 4 minutes left in regulation. Black Knights just over midfield. Ballard's pass off the back of Navy's Will Harbor. Got to turn around. Falls incomplete. He gets called for pass interference. Army now in field goal range. 2 minutes left in regulation. Quinn Moretsky from 37 yards out. It's up and it's good, and we are tied. And we are going to overtime for the first time in the history of the rivalry. Here we go. First play of OT. Army with the football. And Army didn't have a whole lot going in the first half. Didn't have a whole lot going in the game. But at overtime, fireworks. Markel Johnson, 25-yard touchdown run. Army up 17-10. They're pumped in the booth. Longest offensive play of the game. Previous long was 13 yards. First play of the ensuing Navy drive. Xavier Arline to Mikael Haywood, wide open. Touchdown midshipman, and we are tied at 17. And the game goes over the total in overtime. Snaps a 16-year understreak. That was the first completion of the game for Navy. How about this? Navy ball first to start the second overtime. 3rd and goal. No! Hall, who had the big touchdown run, loses it, fumbles at the goal line, and Army recovers. Army just needs to score to win. So it sets up Moretsky for a game-winning field goal from 39 yards out. Can you be a hero? Yes, you already are a hero for our country. You're a hero for Army. Army wins it. They're singing second, 20-17 in double overtime. Their 5th win in the last 7 meetings, dating back to 2016. They had lost the previous 14 in a row. Ken Niumatalolo and Jeff Monken hugging it out. The respect, the tradition, it's beautiful. It's America's game, and what a game that was. As Army wins it in double overtime, 20-17. 7 of the last 9 meetings decided by 1 possession. Our Jenny Dell catching up with the winning head coach, Army head coach Jeff Monken.
All right, Coach, it was a battle out there. The goal line stop. You said you were desperate for a win here. Is there a better way to do it than a double overtime victory over Navy?
Both teams played with great desperation. I mean, just the will to win. That's 2 great competitive teams, and they played their butts off. Credit to them, and it's just an honor to this game, the way this game was played and the fight of this game. I don't know if we had 100 yards rushing, but we just found a way.
Coach, what is it about this game and this atmosphere that brings out the best in these players?
Well, I told you before the game, every play of this game, it feels like the whole game is hanging in the balance, and it felt like that tonight. And, what a way to finish double overtime.
Congratulations on the victory.
Thanks a lot. Beat Navy.
And that's what they did. First overtime game in series history. And thanks to overtime, the over hits. For the first time, since 2005. It snaps a streak of 16 years to the under. Look, the under had been perfect. The trend was our friend for 16 years in a row. But this game goes over the total in overtime as Army wins it 20-17 on a field goal in the 123rd edition of America's Game. Get some instant analysis. Welcome to CBS Sports HQ college football analyst and Heisman voter, Barrett Sallee. Barrett, we saw a lot of Heisman moments in this game as we get set for the Heisman Trophy ceremony later tonight. I mean, big play after big play late. This was a second half game and then overtime. Your instant reactions, what to how this game played out?
Well, I mean, this game is all about big plays. The team that can hit one or two is the team that's likely going to win. And we saw that early on. Army's offense could not get going at all. Block punt, things change. Navy comes back. They get the 77-yarder from Hall, the longest run in the for Navy anyway in the history of this series. And bam, they're back in control. And then overtime, fireworks throughout. So to me, it was a perfect encapsulation of what this game is all about, specifically with how these two teams operate offensively. You need to have that big play. And when you get that big play, you got to capitalize. You got to turn it into 6. Both of those teams did early. And then in overtime, man, it was haymaker after haymaker, culminating with that field goal that was set up by the fumble on the goal line.
Man, what a game that goes to double overtime. Barrett Sallee with his instant analysis there. The over hits in overtime. First overtime game in the history of the rivalry. Again, overtime was instituted in 1996. They've been playing each other since 1890. And it is Army in the end, 20-17. Quinn Moretzky, longest field goal of the season. It's the biggest field goal of the season for Army, and Quinn Moretzky, a 39-yard, wins it 20-17 in Philadelphia. Get back out to the site. Welcome in Gary Danielson, who just called his 14th consecutive Army-Navy game. And how about that one? Overtime for the first time in the history of the rivalry. Gary, how about the way the game played out? Double overtime drama.
Yeah, I hope the viewers can feel the intensity of every part of this game. Through the pregame ceremonies, the players can feel it. You almost can cut the tension with a knife out here. And because both teams know each other so well, it's like a 1-0 baseball game the whole way. You know it's just going to be something big that will happen. And unfortunately for Navy, they made a few mistakes. 8 penalties in this game, a fumble on the goal line, and a block punt. They seemed to control the game, but their mistakes ended up costing them the football game.
That was a fun game to watch. 7-3 at halftime, and then we get to go to double overtime. These games are always thrilling. I know these Army-Navy games are special for you, Gary. We enjoy watching them alongside. What do you appreciate the most about the rivalry, and what does it mean to you to have the opportunity to call a game like this one?
Right. It's hard to put into words. I mean, Ness and I, and with CBS, we get the opportunity to do so many big games that have games of consequence all year. But this game does feel different. There's no doubt. You get to meet the cadets. You get to talk to them. You can feel the coaches and the intensity and the love for each other. Coach Niumatalolo talked about he built his program around love. And he said, I don't want to get corny here, but you know, your family, you would do anything to protect your family. And that's how these kids feel about this game. They go out there and they're playing for their teammates, their academies, and then ultimately they know that they're playing for their country just around the corner. So the respect you have, and then to watch the two teams sing, you know, I'm always struck by this. The games are always close, and the team that wins second gets to sing. The team that wins gets to sing second. But the other team has to stand there with respect and watch it. And stand there they did. Last year it was Army, and they had how tough that was. And this year the Navy players stood there, respected the players they played against and fought against all year. You have to be here to see it and feel it. And the finish of these games is just a marvelous contest.
Yeah, the tradition is remarkable, Gary. We appreciate it. Appreciate having you put the words to telling us the great story that is this game, this rivalry, as Army in double overtime winning the 123rd edition of America's Game. Gary Danielson joining us here on CBS Sports HQ. Gary, appreciate the conversation all season long. Another great season here as we've been able to have you post-game all season long here on CBS Sports HQ. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's always fun to come in and talk after the game. Thank you.
Great stuff as always from Gary, and what a game it was. The 123rd edition of America's Game going to overtime as Army wins it in double overtime on a field goal from Quinn Moretsky. 39-yard field goal, the longest this season for him, as Army wins for the third time in the last 4 meetings at Lincoln Financial Field. The 123rd edition of America's Game goes the way of the Black Knights.